Welcome back to the Primal Pursuits podcast. I'm Canyon here with my co-host and my dad, Mike. And then we're also here with a strongman, Michael Scott. Mike, would you mind introducing yourself to the audience?
No, not at all. And Kenya and Mike, thanks for having me on the podcast. This is a exciting, wonderful opportunity. So my name is Mike Scott. I just turned 50 a couple weeks back. September 19th was my 50th birthday. And as Canyon said, I decided the smart thing to do as my midlife crisis was at 49 to start competing in strongman. And it's been a wonderful, wonderful pursuit since then. And I think some of the stuff we'll talk about together today in the strongman. But beyond strongman, I am a father of five, blended family. My wife and I are on our second marriage. We have a 22-year-old boy, 21-year-old girl, 21-year-old girl, 19-year-old girl, and then an 18-year-old girl. I'm still working so that I can pay for stuff, and I still go into the office so I can be right every now and then with that many girls in the house. And so five kids and my beautiful wife Julie, been together for 8 going on 9 years now, married. And I've also I am a 20. Ooh, I hate doing the math now because it gets bigger numbers, but 28 years in the financial industry. Also, I work for a company called TIAA. We manage the retirement plans for almost 80% of the colleges and universities in America. Wow. And some of the healthcare systems. So I am responsible for some transformation work there. And then I also am a part-time pastor of a small church in the Monroe area here of North Carolina. So do that as a part-time work. And again, I dove about a year ago head first into strongman. My first competition ever was World Strength Games. Thankful to Russell Anderson, who you guys have had on the podcast prior, for that invitation to get me going, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on. The great connections that have happened, and the connections to you guys. You guys have been a wonderful promoter of content that I put out there, and just support for me. So I'm extremely thankful for both of you guys for that. So
awesome, so fun to have you on, and man, I got to tell you, it was inspiring to watch you move that heavy weight around down in St. George earlier this year. I was shocked at how much weight you can move, especially coming from the financial industry. Not typically two things that go together, you know?
Mike, I was shocked too. It was fun. Like the first event that we did was the farmer's carry, and coming in there, my best had been 220. And that was like red face, gripping and doing everything I could come in the competition. And I think it was 225 that we did out of the gate. And one of the gentlemen that was right next to me that was competing against me, he came across the line and he looked at me and he goes, "Where the heck did you go? Like you picked it up and you were gone. Like you just took off." And I was like, it just felt great. Like it just was like a light switch went on, and yeah, I loved it. And then, the yoke at the end of it, up until that point, I had done a 700-pound yoke and struggled to get it, wow, like 25, 30 feet. And then that final yoke that I did was 776 pounds for 50 feet. And then when you land that thing, and Magnus for Magnussen's your ref, and he's the first one to give you a fist pump, that's a moment. That's a moment right there. And then actually a fun share in that lift, the post that I have out there on my Instagram, you can see I drop it almost 3/4 of the way down, and you'll see like I say, "Yes, sir," and like nod my head and pick it up and go. Well, what you can't hear on the video is Travis Ortmeyer was in my ear, and he's like, "You got this. You got this. Breathe, kick, and go." And that's where you see me go, "Yes, sir." And boom, pick it up and go. Like when Big Travis tells you to get going, it's time to get going. But yeah, that was all of it was a blast, and just the camaraderie of everybody that participated together. Strongman and strong woman is just a the community is wonderful there. But yeah, I was definitely impressed. I shocked myself a few times with some of the lifts going in there.
Yeah, that's awesome. You were mentioning just a few, like the yoke and the farmer's curry. Would you mind just sharing the numbers and the lifts that you've hit to kind of give the audience, like, you know, what we're dealing with? I mean, you're 50 years old and you're strong and you're healthy. Can you kind of like help the audience understand like what kind of strength we're talking about?
Yeah. So thanks, Kenyon. Not to sound like I'm bragging, but yeah, 50 years old, and I have, heading up to my 50th birthday, I've hit a max deadlift of 575 pounds. I want 600 this year. You know, I feel like I'm I'm only in the progressing stage, and we'll come back and talk about that after I share a few of your numbers. The 776 yoke is the best that I've done to date. And we'll come back and talk about that in a minute, because I have some things written down, because I'm going back to World Strength Games next year. And then the best log that I've ever done, like the log press, like clean, press it over your head. I hit 220 in a competition not too long ago, a few weeks back, right after my birthday. I was a little sick heading into that competition. You're just getting over being sick, but 220 was a new PR. I'll take that.
Wow.
And then I've with just like taking it out of the rack and pressing overhead, I've been able to press 275 pounds over my head. Let's see, the farmers that I did in competition, I ended up doing the second set that we did. I did 260 pounds per hand, and I want to say I did 50 feet in about 23 seconds. I had one drop with the 260, and that felt really good. Like that, the farmer's walk really impressed me. I felt great about it. I've done natural stone carry with a 250 pound stone. But that's like one of my weaknesses. My hip mobility, gets in there. That's one of the things that I've been working on a lot. But 250 pound stone with that. Not ready to take a shot at that Magnus stone that Russell keeps bringing around there. I'm not ready for that yet. But
what is that? 402? That one that he's got? Is it 402?
402 pounds. Yeah, 402 pounds. Yeah, I saw some videos that they had it at one of the conventions, giving people a chance to lift it, which was cool. And then also the video of Travis doing it at the bare knuckle fighting there. That was pretty cool too. But yeah, so have done that. Let me see. Axle press. I've hit 220 also. Axle clean and press. Doing that. Again, this is something. So my journey wise, and I'll talk about it in a minute. Like at 47, I had this really big epiphany, and training strongman. I'm approaching a year now with September, approaching a year doing it. And so I feel like I'm just at the beginning, like I'm building foundation. The coach that I'm working with, I work with Lawrence Chalet. So for those that don't know, he's the coach for Mitchell Cooper and a lot of other guys. So we're probably the best in the business this day. Wow. But Lawrence has been breaking it down like as a coach and building back up my foundation. Like what I did at World Strength Games in April was just like brute strength. And now he's like building this foundation, and basically what he said is, we're going to turn you into a real strongman now. So I'm excited because I'm starting to see pieces come together. That's going to help to make sure I'm even better in the coming years. So that's really exciting.
So how did a financial advisor get into this sport? I mean, that's really, we should start. How did you even, what happened? How did you land there?
Yeah. So it's funny. I do more strategy and transformation and change. So not financial advisor. So if anybody reaches out to me, I don't have financial advice for you. Sorry. Outside of the Bitcoin is a pretty good thing to get into, but we could talk about that some other day. So at 47, that was in the height of the pandemic, right? And we're stuck at home. And I was one of those guys when it first started. I was like, oh, I'm going to get myself in shape. I'm going to lose like 25 pounds when we come out of this. people are going to be like, "Ooh, what happened to you?" Yeah, that didn't happen. I had ballooned up to about 317 pounds, and I had this moment where I just was not moving around very well. I was going out and doing walks, and it just wasn't working. And my kids are, again, the ages that I shared. They were younger at that point, and I had looked through the risk factors, like if you got COVID and the risk factors and stuff. And I was like, I check almost every box. And I've put myself in this situation. Like I've done this to myself. And I was at the point like sneezing could throw my back out. Right.
Really?
And I had lost just so much, and just like the passion for it and stuff. And so I made a commitment to myself. I put together the spreadsheet and everything. This is where the financial stuff comes in, right? You need a spreadsheet to be able to, right? So I put together a spreadsheet, and I wanted to be the strongest version of myself at 50, right? At 50 years old, I was like, I want to be the strongest, healthiest version of myself. And so I put a goal. I was like, I want to be able to deadlift 500 pounds. I want to be able to squat 500 pounds. I want to be able to, at that time, my shoulders were shot. So bench press dumbbells, like 125 dumbbells for 10 reps. Like that was, so I put all these goals out, put it in a spreadsheet. I was going to start to progress and everything. And strength started coming really fast. Like I started feeling good really fast. And it was, shortly into it, I actually found a couple of YouTube channels that really set me straight, like got me away from this old mythology where as you get older, you should take it easier. Like you shouldn't work out as hard. You shouldn't lift heavy. Be careful of those compound movements. You're going to hurt your back and things like that. And started finding people that, and they were using science, right? They were using studies to say like, hey, it's all crap. Like you're getting a whole bunch of crap, right? And it turned my mindset right into that. And it was like, no, I'm going to start pushing my body harder. I'm going to do all the compound movements. I'm going to do that. And in setting those goals. And then it was really early on, way before Mitchell Hooper became popular. I found his YouTube channel, and he was putting out this free educational content and really talking to people about progressive overload and how to build strength and things like that. And so like that first year at 47, I didn't know what I was doing, right? And I had worked out in the gym when I was a kid, going through high school and all that fun stuff. And I realized at 47, I knew nothing about how to like get strong, get fit and things like, and do these right things. And so finding these folks and finding like a Mitchell Hooper who's giving free information, and then finally learning what it means to do like progressive overload, right? Increasing week over week, 3 to 5%, backing down on the deload week, then reassessing where you are on your lifts. When I did that, and I did that at 48, the weights that I could do, like when I tell you guys, I couldn't get 375 pounds on a deadlift past my knee starting out. Yeah. And then starting to do the progressive overload, by my 48th birthday, I had hit 500 pounds on a deadlift.
Wow.
Right? It was like things started clicking, and then it was building up from there. And then by the time I was 49, right, it was 575 on the deadlift. The best squat that I've done, like a raw squat, is 535. Right. But I've also hit a box squat in training. Like now I don't go in and do a gym lift to get a max squat. Like squats are basically to build strength. They're the best thing in the world to build strength. And in doing squats, like I do a lot of box squats now because of the explosion you get from having to sit down. So I've done 500 for 3, right, on a box squat.
Wow.
So I know it's up there higher than the 535, but again, it's that progression. So understanding. And one of the things that I also share that Mitchell says all the time, you have to earn the right for a big lift. Right. And so you got to put the work in the gym and really make it happen. And I will say, like right now, you could throw boulders on my back and it'll be like, okay, let's go have fun, you know, as opposed to like other folks that are my age that are, you know, achy and, you know, I can't lift that thing up. I can't do this thing. Um, you know, it's fun for me now. Like I'm having a blast. I'm having a
You've obviously
blast.
always been strong. I mean, I think you're
Hmm.
right. Your nature, your physique,
Yeah.
you've always been a
Hmm.
strong person, right?
Yes. Mhm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. In high school, strength came natural. Actually, it's funny. Um, our high school football team was not all that good, so I only played a couple years and then stopped. Our baseball team was really good, and actually that's what I played. I played baseball and actually went to college on scholarship.
Nice.
But I caught. So stocky, right? Where,
Mm-hmm.
where
Mm-hmm.
where do you put the
Luck the
stocky
plate.
kid that has a good arm? Yeah,
Behind the
Yeah.
right.
plate, baby.
You
Yeah.
put him you put him
Yep.
behind the plate. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was where I went. But yeah, growing up, it was funny because people were like, "Why are you not playing football?" Because I go in the weight room and just fool around. And Mike, you and I are probably closer in age, and you
Yep.
probably
Yeah. I'm
remember
50
this.
also.
Yeah. So growing up, right? If you were playing baseball, we got a lot of bad information when we were kids.
Oh
'Cause they'd be
yeah.
like, they would tell us all the time, don't go lifting those weights. You don't
Yeah.
want to bulk up.
Don't
It's
work
gonna,
out. Yeah.
yeah, it's gonna, yeah, yeah. And I would come out of baseball season and feel so weak, like because I was just doing no training and then go back into doing some training and then, wrestle in the winter, through high school. But then there, you wanted to get stronger, so the strength would come back. But then go back to baseball, and the coach be like, "No, no, no, no! Be careful going. You're going to bulk up, and you're not going to be. Your swing's going to slow down, and
Oh,
all that
geez.
stuff." And it's like it it's such bad information.
Mm-hmm.
And then heading into college, it was a little bit better. Got a little bit better information as far as like trying to do some, but it was still very limited strength
Limited.
training.
Yeah.
Yeah, that you
Yeah.
would do. And then after that, it was just like, oh, you're getting older, so you shouldn't lift hard until finally, finally I discovered the right people giving the right information at 47, and here I am, very late to the game in doing strongman competitions.
How
So,
does because so I come from more of the bodybuilding aspect of things, so I'm like heavy into not only like the compound movements and stuff, but also diet's a huge thing. I've been curious with strongman, how does diet like play a part into it? I know you're going for optimal strength and so you're probably pushing the carbs and protein like crazy, but is there like a cookie cutter diet that most strongmen follow, or what does that look like?
I would say what you see what you see professional strongmen putting out on YouTube is probably a little bit for viewership, right? To drive
Mm-hmm.
viewership as far as like what they eat and what they really eat and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I would like for as far as professional strongman, I would look to like a Mitchell Hooper. I would listen to a lot of the stuff that Laz puts out as far as like diet and things like that. And so for me personally, like I definitely have my cheat days and
Yeah.
I do like the freedom. Like I'm
Hmm.
not built to be a bodybuilder. Like my joints are just too bulky to ever be a bodybuilder. And two, like that discipline part of the
Yeah. Oh, for
diet
sure. For sure.
is not in my sweet spot. Now, that said, when it comes to diet for me, like I try to eat as clean as possible, right? Make sure that my protein intake is at the right levels, and that I'm hitting, at least the right levels of carbs, like not crazy on the carbs, but getting the right
Mhm.
kind of clean carbs in, and then ensuring that like you're getting that 5 handfuls of vegetables per day and at least 3 to 4 of fruits per day. I'm not
Mhm.
really big, like me personally, I'm not big on counting calories.
Yeah.
Just as long as I'm hitting those markers and my energy feels good, then I feel pretty good. And actually, what's funny, what you probably can't tell with me sitting down is I'm down about 20 pounds from when you guys saw me at World Strength
Oh
Camp.
Wow.
wow.
And potentially, if it continues on this path, and I'm eating clean and I'm putting in good
Hmm.
calories and I'm working out hard, if it continues on this pace, I may actually compete in the lower weight division for the
Oh
50 to
wow.
59s, as opposed to the heavyweights, because I'm feeling good at this weight and I don't want to I don't want to bulk back up unless I can really bulk back up and it's packing on muscle and not fat. So Kenyon, to what you're saying as far as like a bodybuilding standpoint,
Yeah.
I think strongman is getting a lot better around that clean eating and making sure we're getting good food in. The volume will be greater than somebody who's training for bodybuilding. As far as the quality is starting to get there. And I think folks are seeing that when they're saying like, oh, what's the secret sauce to like a Mitchell Hooper doing what he's doing? And it's like, he's not doing all this crazy, like eating like a 5-year-old,
Yeah.
you know, chicken tenders and cheesecake. He's eating clean and gaining strength and just like running the show up there. So, and I think a lot of, you know, novice and, you know, intermediary strongman, which is what I can consider myself like more of like novice intermediary. We should be following that same path, like eat clean, eat healthy, again, have your cheat days, you know, or your cheat meals and stuff like that. That said, you know, don't go crazy. Don't think that it's just like freedom to eat whatever you want and run the Taco Bell 3 times a day and you know, all that good fun stuff. Even
what
though
about
Taco Bell a couple times a
supplementation
week
for,
ain't that bad. Oh, what about supplements?
yeah, what about supplementation? What else do you do that helps?
So so supplementation for me, let me put it in a couple buckets. One, adrenaline and Apex, you know, as my pre-workouts from you guys from Primal, and now I've moved over to you guys with the creatine. I would say an absolute game changer, no brainer for anybody if you're doing strongman, powerlifting, bodybuilding. Creatine is a have to. It has to be a staple in the diet. I do zinc and magnesium, and Tiga Ale. I do that. L-carnitine, all those. There's a number of supplements that help to boost your testosterone. Also, a big moment for me was getting my testosterone tested. So for guys who get older, go get your testosterone tested, especially if you're having brain fog and things like that. So I do testosterone replacement therapy. So I've been actively doing that for a little over a year now, and that has helped. That has helped tremendously. So I definitely am a big proponent. I'll tell anybody that has a conversation. I'm
the
like,
same place as you about a year ago, same thing, and it was got it tested. It was low, and man, I feel so great now.
It is a game changer, when it comes to that, and just helps you so much. Like you don't realize how much testosterone can impact. And I was having a conversation with somebody the other day because the last competition I did was an open competition, so they didn't have like my old man section, my 50 and over. So I was competing with the young guys in there, and I was talking to one of the guys, and they're like, yeah, it's great that you're doing TRT. It means like your testosterone levels have gotten to, you know, closer to the same levels as us. So okay, it gives you a little advantage. You're still old and rickety, but hey, you got your testosterone levels up. But that's a lot of the supplement stuff that I do. Oh, and I actually have been doing the peptides that through Russell's company, the Rapid Rebound. That's another one that I take that I feel like has been really beneficial there. And then that's all the supplements. There's other recovery things that I've been doing that I feel like have been really successful also. So
yeah, I think people underestimate. You touched on like just getting your hormones checked. I mean, I've been getting my hormones checked since I was 20. And like, just because I wanted, like, I feel great, right? I feel great. I want to see what my levels are and everything and my micronutrients to be able to replicate that if things were to ever go south or whatnot. And I think people underestimate the power that having your hormones in balance and having the right levels when it comes to like your liver enzymes and the right blood sugar levels, like all this plays a key role in not only performance and the way you feel, but like also like how you look as well. And so I think that's super important that you touched up on that. And I would argue that it's even more of an impact if your hormones are out of balance than it would be if you were, eating enough for strength or whatnot. Like the hormones, it's everything.
Yeah, and one of the triggers for me, Kenyon, like so I have access to one of those electroid scales at work. So our work has a gym, and like basically it shoots the electroid through and it gives you your body composition. So that was another good
Yeah.
thing on this journey was I got away from like just focusing on the scale and focusing on like the body composition transition that was going on. And I had hit that period where I felt like I was busting my butt in the gym and working hard, and my strength was going up, the weights were going up, but I
Yeah.
wasn't getting any muscle mass, right? Like I went in there and I got the same muscle mass after 6 months, and I'm like, I'm working hard. And that was the trigger for me to go get tested. I was like, all right, let me go get tested. Now, like I get my blood tested every like quarter when it comes to like the company that I'm using for the TRT. And also the thing I would recommend, because I got my appointment in a couple weeks, is going to your general physician, like you were saying, like your liver enzymes and all that stuff. Get all that stuff tested too. Like don't, make that part of your annual routine to get your blood tested, to find out where your hormones are out, to make sure, because those you can put all the good stuff you want in your body. If you're out of balance and you can do something to get yourself back in balance, that's going to help you tremendously, no matter how old or young you are.
It's funny. I've done all the exact same things as you, and Canyon's helped inspire that in me. In fact, I'll have him read my labs before I even have my appointment with the doctor, and Canyon pretty much gives me the lowdown on everything. And I go to the doctor, and it's like the same thing Canyon just told me about all of it because he's such a nerd on this stuff. But so it's cool. But one thing that I've also found, and that my doctor continues to advise me, is to go donate blood and give power reds, because it just helps keep my blood, not too thick, and it's good for your health. Obviously, it's a great cause to obviously donate blood. There's such a big shortage everywhere all the time, it seems like. So that's another like yours too.
Yeah. And I have that competitive mentality, Mike. So I want to beat like the time that it takes to fill up that pint of blood every time I go in.
9 minutes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah. Like I'm like, all right, I was 9 minutes 20 seconds last time. We got to hit 9 minutes this time. It again a great cause. And actually, that's a reminder. I'm due to give blood real soon too. Also, but yeah. It's an awesome thing, and it helps to keep that regenerative focus.
Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, no matter which way you're pursuing it, whether Canyon, like you're in a bodybuilding focus, Mike, I see your videos on running and just like doing a lot of that, that healthy activity, through building up the running and stuff, and me doing Strongman. No matter what path, we're all trying to fight aging. Right? We want to stay as young as we can and feel as young as we can for as long as we possibly can. It's just finding that passion, like what makes you passionate about that, and then really taking it to the next level. And I think even with that, and I've heard enough from what you guys have shared in your background stories on this podcast and some of the conversations that we've had together, to know that like you guys have experienced what it feels like to push your body to the ultimate limit and then know you still have more. Like that is a wonderful, wonderful feeling. Like to know that you've hit the wall and you still in your mentality can take 1-2 more steps, right? And beyond that wall.
Yep.
And then you're like, when that happened for me in this path, right? It unlocked something in me that had been locked up since my teenage years, right? And even better, because now I know the discipline that has to go into it to maintain and trigger that again. And that just like, that's so empowering. So empowering.
Yeah, you're talking about the difference between just being alive and thriving.
Yeah.
And that when you have zest and vigor, and you've seen some of my stuff. I mean, I'm big into cold plunging, and the Andrew Huberman and David Goggins, and most of us, when we think we're at our breaking point, we're really only at 40% of what our capability is. So it's crazy how much more there is to get. but you got to push past that and break that glass ceiling
Mm-hmm.
so that you get to that new area. And
Yeah.
that's real. And then you're a better father, you're a better husband, you're a better friend, you're a better,
Yes.
family member. You're a better member of society when you're healthy and have a clean, clear mind that
Mm-hmm.
restrict you the way that maybe society or social media or these other things maybe are spreading hate or not supporting your
Yeah.
thing, right? We're here to win.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and to that point, like how you shared like the social media stuff and like the dramatic body dysmorphia that people can suffer from through
Mm-hmm.
that, finding strongman and hanging out with guys with guts that are proud of them, man, that was so comforting for me. I was like, man, I'm finally at home,
I found my
after
home.
uh,
Yeah.
yeah, I
Uh,
found my home.
my tribe, my people.
Yeah, yeah, my people, yes. We got our power belly so we could go have fun together.
That's funny.
All the guys that were shopping in the Husky section when we were kids together. Now we can be proud.
There you go.
Big boys
How
club.
have you
Uh,
so you talked a little bit about like the mental strength and like being able to break
mhm.
barriers and doing more than you thought you were capable of doing. How has that mental fortitude bled into the other areas of your life? Like
Yeah,
what
that's a great
examples have
question.
you seen in your own life that have improved based on solely like lifting and building up that mental strength as well?
So in general, being happier and more of a patient drive, right? So it is very different to be very driven in your career and wanting to get outcomes and accumulate stuff, right? And being very not even aggressively driven, but just driven without an awareness and an understanding and a kindness to other people.
Hmm.
And in going down this path and really trying to humble myself through it and push myself and push my body and finding like these inner strengths and finding all these different recovery aspects and meditation and these things that you got to do, it has really calmed me to where like I am doing a better job of hearing other people, of being more inclusive of other people, of trying to be I know I have this thing that I'm pretty good at and I enjoy that and I got a passion for it. And to that extent, like when I go into other aspects of my life, there's different confidence that, when you have a level of confidence, then people are more interested in getting to know you and they start to become like they gravitate towards you and then you get to have these wonderful conversations. So I think like my impact on other people has been greater now going through this, right? And being able to just have like this calm focus and discipline going through life, going through work. So Kenyon, before we actually kick this off formally, we were talking about like, the work environment that I'm in, and we had just
Mm-hmm.
announced like this big partnership with Accenture. It's extremely stressful, right? Because there's a lot of
Hmm.
expectations in doing this, and in corporate America, you're you're under the gun. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
you gotta deliver, and in that, what you find and what I feel like I've been able to bring to the table for the people around me that are in this work is, um, the calmest person is the person that others gravitate towards, and so being able to like in these stressful situations, stay calm, have fun, be willing to laugh, right? Not taking myself too serious and just bringing that type of energy to others has been great. I would also say, as I mentioned from the pastoral work and stuff that I do, my my spiritual focus has become even stronger. Like again, that meditation, that ability to meditate, that ability to understand like what you're built to do, like
Mm-hmm.
how great we have been built and what we can accomplish. That has really taken my relationship with God to a different level, to where like we have deep conversations and meditations and things that I feel like were not there 3 years ago because
Mm.
I I didn't feel the same, like pushing my body to
Mm-hmm.
what its purpose and what its max was meant to be. I hope that's resonating
Yeah.
as I'm sharing that.
Yeah, no. Kind of like what you mentioned before this podcast, we were talking a little bit about like how you were under a stressful environment, and I don't think people realize like how much of a lifestyle bodybuilding is, or strongman, or like it is every aspect of your life.
Mm.
You were mentioning like you were so stressed out that you weren't sleeping that good, and then
Yes.
that sleep bled over into not being able to perform as strong in your
Mhm.
lifts, and then that can bleed over into, like you said, the confidence or
Yep.
knowing like, oh, I halted my progression, and that can take a toll. Like there's so many things that need to happen on a daily basis for there to be that constant progression. But if you can find that groove and you can keep that momentum, that's gonna
Yeah.
bleed into every aspect of your life, in work
Yeah.
and family and in
Mhm.
sports and whatever you choose. So
Yeah.
yeah, I thought that
And
was really interesting.
and it even got to the point like I was like, and again, I'm exuding calm, and internally, like you guys know how you take it internally on yourselves, and you're
Yeah.
just like,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna try
Like
to
a
get it out of
duck
my
on the
workout.
water, as calm
Yeah,
as can
yeah.
be.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And then their feet. Exactly,
Go crazy.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, Mike, exactly.
Yeah.
And that actually led to the point where it took 3 weeks, but I ended up shutting down, like sinus infection,
Oh boy.
allergy. Like I was done. Like for 5 days, I was stuck couch bed, sick, and it was actually on my birthday. I was like, man, first time in 50
Oh
years
dang.
that I'm sick on my birthday. But it was exactly that, right, Canyon? Like you're saying,
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm.
was not putting in and not in enough control of my environment in the recovery, like those times outside of the workout, in order to make sure that I can go to the next workout. But I was still trying to do the
Mm-hmm.
workouts, and I eventually hit that point where my body's like, no, you've had enough. You've had enough. And that happens to everybody, no matter what age, where you're at. And I
Yeah.
think the message and what you were articulating back to me, Kenyon, is your recovery, your focus on recovery.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how you're sleeping, how you're eating, how you're managing stress, whether it's job and relationship, and then how you're managing stress within your family life, right? All of those things, like those have to balance in order for you to be able to progress and grow in any sort of training, especially if you're training your body right to its absolute limits
Yeah, only
in
a
there.
fraction of our health is physical. The rest of it is mental, emotional, spiritual. If your mind's not right, your body doesn't matter. Like
Yeah.
you can't perform the way your body was built to perform if your mind isn't right. And yet, if it
Yeah.
is right, you could do double what you physically would have been capable of doing. Right? You can push that
Yeah.
limit.
Absolutely, Mike. Like spot on. That so well said. Yeah.
Well, one other thing, and not to go too far down the religious path, but I know you're a man of faith, obviously.
Mhm.
But no, I mean, our bodies it's a gift from God. It is a temple. It is a
Mhm.
sacred space where the Spirit of the Lord can dwell, where our spirits dwell. And when we keep our body healthy and clean and take care of it, it will pay us back. It'll give us
Yes.
those results and those benefits that it was built to do, which again, I think
Yep.
in a lot of cases, I think most people have been at different phases in life where they've been healthy, they've felt good, they've had vigor, they've had zest, and you're just a better human when your body is firing on all cylinders, and that can't happen when your mind, your spirit, your other um, persona isn't all in alignment. So health is a lot more than just physical, I think is the point.
I think that's such an important point. And can't remember. It might have been even Matthew McConaughey that said this one time, like
Mm.
on a motivational video that I was watching. Basically, he was saying like what you do in your 30s is your reward in your 40s, and what you do in your 40s is like you're always preparing for the next decade of life by
Right.
putting in the right work, right in those ages. And you can never get away from it, right? So if I want to have, like, now that I turned 50, if I want to have a good time in my 60s, I got to put in the work in my 50s, right? And then so on and so forth. It has to continue, right? We have to want to continue if we want to stay vigorous. We want to stay vital and be able to be mobile and stay around and all that stuff. We got to put in the time.
One other component, and Canyon and I witnessed this, but I got to be honest, it was inspiring and it was touching watching your family, your tribe, your people support you. These custom T-shirts, and I mean, it was Team Michael Scott, and I could just feel the energy, and it was flowing to you as you were doing these heavy lifts that are so difficult. I mean, I tried to pick up do the farmer carry. I think it was 225, and I about cut my hands. They're so sharp. It was like, wow, I can't believe you were throwing it around like it was nothing. And but back to what we were talking about before, how important has it been for you to have that communication with your family and your loved ones? Do you have the support? Because like you're talking about training, and Canyon was talking about this lifestyle, you got to have a team of support behind you. You can't do this in a vacuum. You can't neglect those other parts of your life and really be successful in the gym when you're trying to push yourself like this, right?
Yeah, no, agreed, Mike. And yeah, it was awesome to have my family show up and, to have my mom there and a couple of my cousins, my nephew, my wife. Yeah, when you hear them yelling, right? And to the point, like, here's a funny one that I'll tell my mom, like that yoke run, when I was doing that yoke run,
Yeah.
I have a video where you can see Magnus turn around and look at a lady, because that lady, who is my mom, is telling him to get out of the way because she's trying to film me.
I
Right.
remember that.
We're doing the yoke, it was that passionate for them. And then, yeah, my aunt and uncle were there too. So yeah,
Yeah.
it is great to have the sport, and they can't wait to get back
Yeah.
in May. Like, we already have our Airbnb taken care of, and everybody's lined up who's coming. Everybody who was there last year is going to be there again, and all that. And then back home here, my kids love it. Like, they just think it's the greatest thing. So they're constantly supportive, and I would say this too. Like, and again, my family all over it's. I'll share another fun story that my sister called me. It's like, she calls me up, and my grandfather's 94 years old.
Wow.
And he was doing some rehab, and she's like, and his memory's going a little bit, right? So, and he had done this rehab, and my sister's going to visit him, and she's waiting, and he's coming down the hallway with the nurse, and he's like, I just have to tell you, like, my oldest grandson, he's really strong. Like, he competed in this, and he's telling the lifts that I did at World Strength Games and stuff like that, which was like, made me smile big, around that. My 94-year-old grandfather bragging on his 50-year-old
Got pride on you.
oldest
Yeah.
grandson. Yeah, yeah. With that, yeah, that support is just amazing, and there's definitely a part of me that's like, I really want to hit some big lifts in the coming year. Possibly, I have a pad here. I keep written the world records, that Russell sent
Wow.
over to me. So I want to hit some big lifts this coming year, and it's for me personally as an achievement, but also to thank my family, for all the support that they've given me, and
Mm.
my wife putting up with all the supplements that I'm buying, and the coaching, and that we got to spend money on, and all that good stuff. But yeah, that support is tremendous when you have the support of your family and friends. And the other thing that I would share too is, a lot of the guys that competed at World Strength Games in April, we're all now connected on Instagram, like the social media and stuff, and we're all back and forth with each other. Like, man,
Yeah.
that's looking good. I can't wait to see you, next year and stuff like that. So that community is even building, and every competition I do, like, that community gets a little bit bigger, and then you have more support. The beautiful thing about strongman and strongwoman is, and I tell people this all the time, if, like, you're a jerk and you're out there for
Mm.
yourself, and you're not cheering on other people and really, like, into it, like, serious about, cheering on other people, you'll get ostracized. Like, you'll see the person
Mm.
that sits off in the corner, you're like, yeah, that's the guy or the girl that just hasn't been behaving well at the last few competitions. Like
Mm,
the people will gravitate away from them because it's a community of support and people that just want to see, like, it's you against the weight.
Mm.
You
yeah.
can
Yeah,
only
you're
beat the
cheering
weight.
on your competition
Yeah,
because
you're
you're
cheering on.
competing
Yeah.
against yourself
Hmm.
and you want
Yeah.
other people to win and help drive you as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. And going back to that, going back to the yoke run again, that was the last thing we did. Dave Gaynor who finished in second place, right? I finished in third. I almost couldn't recognize the voice that was like in my ear, and then I looked back at the video, and Dave had gone all the way down the course. Like he had just finished his yoke, and he went all the way down the course, like, and it's in my ear, like, "Let's go, Mike! You got this! You got this!" And it's like that. That's a sense of community, right? And just the support that you get. You gotta love it. You gotta love it. I've never experienced nothing like it when you're like
Mm.
when I was playing baseball, there was a lot of guys I got along with, but once we went between the white lines, we didn't
Yeah.
like each other. And then
Yeah.
after that, we could be friends again. But in
Yeah.
between the white lines, it wasn't that way. But here, strong man, strong woman, it's like from the time you get to the competition floor, you're going through the competition to the
Yeah.
time like the podium's read out, everybody's supporting everybody
Yeah.
in it.
Yeah, that's
It's a
cool.
beautiful thing.
So you talked a lot about like the community and stuff with Strongman and some of the plans you got. You said you mentioned that you had the world records, plastered on your wall, something to look at. Apart from like breaking world records, where are you trying to go with Strongman? What are your personal goals that keep you pushing?
So I want to pursue this until I plateau, like till I physically know I have reached my genetic capability. And that's going to be somewheres around when I turn 57, right? So I probably have like 7 years because I was watching another gentleman that I follow on YouTube, and he was like, you never know anything that you do for real true passion and want to push your body through stuff, you're not going to know whether you reach your full potential unless you dedicate like a 10-year period to really doing it. So I want to put that time in. And again, if I plateau before that, then I'll stop. Within that, my ultimate goal is to qualify for official strongman games in the 50 to 59. This year they're only inviting 10 guys. So that
Wow.
means, and it's a national competition. Wow. So that means the 10 guys getting invited there in that 50 to
Best of the
59
best.
bracket
Yeah.
are the 10 best strong men nationally in that. So if I can qualify and compete on the same stage as the guys there, and my coach knows it, and he actually sent me a message today. Big Laz was like, okay, another step towards it, right? We just keep, and again, that's the whole beauty. Like, just keep progressing.
Yeah.
You keep progressing. It's me against the weights. It's me putting in the work, and I think I have the potential to get to a position where I'm strong enough to qualify. And if that happens, I will be extremely happy. Like whether I break some world records during my time doing it or not, great. If I hit that and I know that I have absolutely reached my genetic potential, I'll be really happy with this pursuit. And then I'll still lift heavy, I'll still do compound movements, but it'll be more making sure that I'm keeping my mobility as long as I possibly can into life. So hopefully I'm doing cartwheels at 90, right?
That's cool.
Yeah. So that is definitely the goal for myself. Yeah.
So what are some of your other life goals? I mean, this is a Primal Pursuits podcast, and what are some of those other things that are innate in you that drive you? I mean, obviously there's that zest for competition and competitive juices and, being an athlete, that's just ingrained probably in you. But what else, what other goals do you have in life that you're passionately pursuing?
So my why, I'm a big fan of knowing your why in life.
Yeah.
My why is to leave this earth knowing that I have had a positive impact on as many people as I possibly can, whether that is personally, professionally, and spiritually. With that. So I love having the opportunity to be able to interact and mentor people I mentor a lot of people at work and try to help them aspire to those achievements, mentoring people within the faith community, and then also on personal levels. So that's my passion. If I am, again, my personal pursuits and goals, my overall why, I'm at my best when I am not focused on me, but focused on making other people around me better, right? And really being that servant leader, and that's where I get a lot of passion. And I'm hoping that never stops, right? That's something that will just continue. I'll probably be that old retired guy sitting on the park bench, striking up a conversation. Let me help you out with that.
Right. Right. Yeah.
that there. But yeah, that's my driver, is to make sure that I'm really making a positive impact, one relationship at a time. I'm not somebody that has to have like a big splash impact. I really like to see my impact in individual relationships, being able to know like somebody is in a better place. Somebody has put themselves on a better path in their career because of the interactions that we've had together, the conversations that we've had, the discovery. I actually am very passionate. The past 2 years, I have had an opportunity to work. Like we get a lot of interns that come in during the
Oh, cool.
summer months at work. And the past 2 years, I've done the why speech with them, and I've had them go away, and it's open to anybody. Again, if you're not interested in it, that's fine. But I've had a lot of them come back and say, hey, I want you to meet with me and tell me your why. And then a number of them, I've had a number of conversations, because they'll come and be like, I really don't know what it is, or they'll say it and it'll be like, your why has to be like this
It's
one to
something
two
else.
sentences that really just like sums up who you are. And but they'll give me like some will give me like a book report. It's like, hold on, you just
Surface
gave me,
level.
yeah, you just gave me like two. But getting in, asking them questions and getting them, and I've had some of them move to tears when it actually came out of their mouth, and it resonated with them, like it was their why. And that was like, that moved me to tears, and their tears. And that's just, those are the beautiful things. Like when you can do that one relationship at a time, that just inspires me tremendously.
It sounds like what you're describing is, it's, people talk about, I just want to be happy. And, happiness is so fleeting. I mean, it could be, funny joke and this is happy time, whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
what you're talking about sounds more like enduring, like joy and
Yeah.
fulfillment, and something
Yeah.
that's a lot deeper and more visceral than just,
Yeah.
making you smile for a minute. Right.
Yeah. And Mike, to that extent, like the conversation that I'll have, especially with kids that are young, still in college and in the first couple of years of their career, it's like, and this is something I've learned through my career, I don't think I've ever done a job that matched the job description that I was hired for. Right. I've always created this thing that meets who I am. And I share that with folks. I'm like, listen, you may not be in a role that matches your why. That does not mean that you can't still do your why in
On the
that role.
way.
Right. You can't. And when we start to have that conversation with folks, like the light bulbs that go off, and they're like, come on, oh, you mean like I can get stuck with this? Because when you're younger in your career, especially in corporate America, you get stuck with like these ditch digging, menial tasks that just like can suck the life out of you. When you empower somebody to find out ways to like still live into their why when they're doing like this thing that like just feels so draining, oh, that just takes people's happiness to another level.
Well, yeah, what you're describing is, it's like, I think we've all had those moments where you're doing something, and maybe you get caught up in the moment, and then for a minute you realize, wow, like this is what I'm here for. Like this is my
Yeah.
purpose. This is what I'm here to do, and I think those are special moments that we can recognize if we're paying attention and figure out, more what that why is, so we can figure out how to replicate it more and put ourselves in a position to spend more of our time. We talked about our body's a gift, but every day of life is a gift, because we, like this, it doesn't matter if you're, Steve Jobs, or, cancer doesn't care, diseases don't care.
Yep.
They're accidents happen.
Mhm.
Any of us could get struck by lightning at a moment's notice. So every day is a gift, and I think it's important that we try and figure out how to spend those
Yeah.
moments that we the opportunity to choose where we invest this time, what we do with it, to make it more meaningful. And I think what you're talking about is the essence of those types of things, right?
Yeah, and think about it too. When you can discover that, and that eludes happiness, in what you're doing, especially doing a menial task, that makes other people want to work with you more, like want to gravitate towards you more, to be like, listen, hey, so and so just did this, but they would look at how excited they were. Like, I wouldn't have been excited about doing this, this task, and now that person gets another opportunity, right, and another opportunity, and career starts to advance, and name recognition gets out there, like personal brand, things like that. It's a wonderful progression
Yeah,
from
one of
that.
what you just described, and I was on a different podcast that's called Real Business Owners,
Hmm.
and he was asking, what my maybe some of the secrets I've learned or things that I've figured out in my journey professionally, or working places, and trying to create who I am today. And that was one of the things that I shared is, one of the things that I figured out early is I learned how to enjoy doing things that nobody else wanted to do, and then make them fun.
Yes.
So all of a sudden,
Yes.
guys on the crew wanted to come and do that thing that sucks, because
Hmm.
I made it fun, and we actually enjoyed that more than the other thing. And then our boss is 10 times more happy over the moon that we're over there doing this thing. And now we're
Hmm.
not only complaining about it, but we're like, yeah, let's do it again, and
Hmm.
it's just kind of a funny little story. But I grew up doing construction, and
Hmm.
we used to have to put down this particle board, this 3/8 inch, it's like sawdust compressed board
Yep, I,
called,
I I know that stuff.
that down before they'd put linoleum or vinyl flooring in the laundry room or the kitchen. If somebody wanted to put in tile or hardwood, they would put vinyl in, the entry or
Hmm.
the laundry room or the bathrooms, the kitchen. And nobody wanted to do it. And so I wanted to figure out how I could cut one piece perfectly and fit like this jigsaw puzzle. And I liked all the intricacy and having to figure it all out. And I loved it when it fit just perfectly, and I wanted it all tight. And I just took pride in doing that. And got to the point where I would joke with the guys, and I would call it funderlayment instead of underlayment. And they'd say, "You're an idiot." They'd say, "That's okay." So I'm in there doing fun, and they'd end up digging a ditch or doing something else that was even worse than what I was having to deal with, because
Yep.
whenever job was there to be done, at least I knew what I was getting into. It was dry. It
Yep.
was, I
Hmm.
wasn't out in the sun. I found a way to actually enjoy that and improve at it and make it fun. And that was one of the things that my boss, told me later. He's like, "Man, you're willing to do anything, and you never complain
Hmm.
about it. You always have a good attitude." So
Yeah. Well,
that's
and
want to keep around, right?
yeah,
So,
exactly. Well, and I'm sure also in doing that, and bringing that attitude later in other roles that you had, right? You created followership, and I think
yeah.
that's like if we could share an important message from folks that are like starting out in their careers, or even middle in their careers and later in your careers,
Mhm.
followership is so important. Like, don't worry about like how many people report to you or what title you have. Like, all that stuff can get taken away, and it doesn't matter after you retire anyway. Like, nobody cares like what my title was. Um, Followership, like people that are willing to drop, like they don't report to you, but you reach out to them and they're like, yeah, I don't care what my managers do wants me to do right now. Mike
Yeah.
just reached out and had something because you had that followership, and that's really like, if you can impact people, make it fun, and really like let them know in ways like again, they don't report to you. They don't work for you. They work in other departments. They know that you have their back. You have their best interest, and you're fun to work with, and you enjoy life, and you build that followership. Followership is so much more important in life than title and status and
Because then they're
whatever
choosing
other
you.
things.
They're choosing
Yeah,
you when they have an
exactly.
opportunity to choose versus, oh, I got to follow this. I got to report to him. Oh, it's, he's my boss. I don't have a
Yeah.
choice.
Yeah. Uh, I'll share this fun. And again, not trying to brag on myself, but we had gone through a number of reorgs again through that whole COVID stuff and restructuring and just trying to figure our way. And there was one of my former bosses when we had gone through a reorg and like they had taken this whole team and moved it to other areas and away from me. And he reached out to have a conversation with me after he had talked to like my former team. And he's like, Mike, he's like, I don't know what you do, but you definitely have loyalty. Like they didn't care what was happening to them. They wanted to know what was happening to you and why they were being moved from you. Like they hated the fact that they weren't going to work for you anymore. I was like, well, that gives me a little bit of that makes it a
Sure.
little softer blow, this whole reorg thing that's going on. But that's followership, right? And again, just maintaining that followership, and that type of loyalty is just so much more impactful and powerful in life than again any title or anything else that you can
And it's
achieve.
just a better way to live. Just a better way to live.
Absolutely. 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 At the end of the day, it is a much better way to live. That is for sure. It's been an awesome conversation. Hey, the one thing I will finish with, guys, just going back through the my journey. I think I don't know if it was Canyon or Mike, whoever you guys, one of you guys that answered. Remember, I had sent like the Instagram message to you guys saying, "Hey, I'm this guy that's almost going to be 50 years old, and I think I can help you guys with your supplements. Like, is there any program, anything we can do?" And you guys were like, "Oh, we got this affiliate program, and we got signed up for that." And the funny part is, like, right around the same time that you guys were doing that, Russell saw like me doing some rehab thing on Instagram and liked it, and then was kind of like checking in on me from time to time. And then it was right when I turned 49. After that, I was like, I had said out loud to this one guy at the gym, I was like, you know what? When I turn 50, I'm going to do my first competition. And it was that next day that Russell's invitation, the World Strength Games, shows up, right? And
Wow.
I never had made the connect. I didn't know that you guys and Russell, right, knew each other and all that stuff. But it's like, I'm reaching out to you guys. Russell starts to see my stuff, right? We're creating a relationship. It's that whole like nothing happens on accident type stuff. So I just wanted to share that one too, because I just think that one's so for me and my journey, it's just such a special connection, right? The connection with you guys and Primal and wanting to see, your business take off, and you guys produce some of the best stuff I've ever had, from the pre-workouts and the Apex and stuff. And then that connection into Russell and the movement that he's trying to bring forward. Again, no relationship is ever on accident. And I'm just, I consider myself extremely blessed to have connected with you guys and building the relationship that we are, building a relationship with Russell, and this opportunity to try to pursue this passion, that I have. So thank you guys tremendously. Really, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, brother. Yeah, we appreciate you, and you're inspiring, and we're thankful for your friendship and your support and the kind words you've shared. All kinds of posts on the Primal Performance supplements, and we do appreciate that. We want you to be successful as well in your pursuits, and we're just feel blessed to be a part of that journey with you.
Thanks.
Well, thanks, Mike, for jumping on. And once again, guys, if you made it this far, go ahead and give us a like and give us a subscription. Turn those post notifications on. But yeah, it's been an awesome chat, Mike. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you, guys. Have
Thanks,
a great
brother.
night. Bye.
Catch you later.